Welcome everyone. How's everybody doing today?
Well, as you guys can see, I'm back um, after my hiatus last week.
Yeah.
Uh, Mike Black was sitting in this chair. Um, he was sitting a little bit farther back from the microphone. Say we have the same haircut.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay. Well, that's good. Well, we're gonna have a little conversation about the month of May actually, and first and foremost, I think Charles, respectfully for everyone, every month we all have birthdays, and anybody who had a birthday in the month of May, I would like to wish you a happy belated birthday. And if it's not there yet, happy birthday for the days to come and stuff. I think that's something that we tend to kind of like not ignore and stuff. But obviously, as you get older in age, you really don't want to hear about that. But it is a special day for all of us. It's a day where whether we like it or not, we getting one day older, and that's the way it goes.
as long as we're walking this earth,
As long as we're walking the
every
earth,
day is
that's right.
another day older, and then
Yeah.
the years hopefully progress. But um, if you didn't know and you're tuning in, we are the military veteran family. That's what this live stream is. We're talking to all military veterans and family.
Family
That's
members, brothers,
sisters,
sisters,
because,
sons,
yeah.
daughters, anyone, as we mentioned before, that's ever had anything to do with a military veteran. Because you're the family too. I mean, because you're a brother or a sister of the veteran, it doesn't mean that you're not a part of us. You are a part. You are a big part of us, and we want you to know that because there's information that we cover along here that you yourself can help out your brothers or your sisters that are veterans, and your mom and your dads, aunts, uncles. You may catch information that might answer some of your questions that you've been looking for in the past. How do I help my dad about certain things? How do I help my mom or my dad going through this? And is my dad able to register for Veterans Administration? I mean, can he sign up for it? We talk about these kind of things, but we also tell stories behind a lot of things that we do.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the idea is that I think we have a tendency of not really acknowledging the things that as us as veterans have gone through and not able to relate that back to our family members. And they don't know. I mean, if you don't tell them,
Mm-hmm.
they're never going to know. They're never going to know about anything. But theoretically speaking, when we talk about a specific month, and this is a very special month, and this is why I decided to say maybe we ought to just kind of talk a little bit about that because it's very meaningful and it has a lot to do with a lot of things. All the months do, but this one in particular is a special month. We talk about it being the beginning of the springtime and stuff, or mid spring. When the flowers are blooming and you go outside and I passed a couple of highways on the way over here, and there's nothing but a bunch of beautiful flowers over here. And not many months ago, we were in the dead of freeze. We had snow, we had ice, we had all kinds of weird things going on. But it's beautiful to see Mother Nature at work and stuff. We celebrate it by a couple of good things that everybody acknowledges, and Mother's Day being one of them, being a very good day for all moms out there and stuff. It is on the 8th of May, but in my opinion, Mother's Day is every day because your mom doesn't come in one day out of the year. I mean, mom's here all the time.
Yeah.
So, Mother's Day is every day. So, but a specific day for Mother's Day this month. We also have, what we refer to Taco Tuesday or Cinco de Mayo. That's another day that that happens. Another thing that happens in the month of May.
Well, and for all the Star Wars fan, the day before that.
Oh yeah, I got something for that.
Oh, you have
Dun,
lightsabers.
dun. May the force be with you.
May the fourth be with you. Yeah. So
Yeah, that's another thing. What day is that, Charles? Do you remember
that's
what day
that's
that
that's
is?
May 4th.
May 4th.
May the
Yeah,
4th be with you.
May the 4th. Yeah, obviously the fourth brings it out and stuff. So that's good. There it is, right there. The fourth. Um, Health Awareness Month. Mike and I last week talked about health in general,
Hmm.
registering, going into the medical facilities, going into the VA, getting yourself registered. You know, if you don't know who the Secretary of the Department of Veteran Affairs is, Doug Collins, he put out a video this past week, and the video talks about having to have to reach out to every single veteran that's out there to register for health care. You know,
Hmm.
because of this what the sensitivity of certain individuals that really need it, they need help and stuff. So because he puts out that video, I'm sure he knows what the numbers are, because we talked about the numbers in regard to how many veterans are enrolled. How many are veterans? We got 15 million veterans, and 50% of them haven't even been
No,
enrolled.
and that's
You
a
know,
sad.
that
It's a
is
very
sad.
sad thing.
Yeah. So when you're talking about mental health awareness, when you're talking about certain things that are going on with somebody, and you're the mom, or you're the dad, or you're the spouse, or the brother or sister, and you want to help that veteran, make him or her aware that they do have entitlements, they do have
Hmm.
benefits. They can go sign up for these things, and they can be looked at, they can be taken care of. And there's a lot of support systems out there. And I've always mentioned before that the Veteran Administration does provide the information, but it gets convoluted when you're trying to find it sometimes.
Yeah.
And it's easier for me to say, "Hey, Charles, have you enrolled in healthcare at the VA?" It's easier for me to say that than to tell him to refer him to the op-ed, or whatever they call that, for the Veterans Administration handbook, the manual, the referral, because then you get all confused
Yeah,
and
when
stuff.
and when one of those shows up in the mail, it's that thick, and you.
Oh yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, it has replaced when it shows up. It looks like it has replaced your local phone book. When you used to get the phone
yeah,
books, that's what it's
yeah.
how thick it is. Um, Mine is talking about with health, and you're talking mental health. Mental health has a stigma to it.
Yeah.
When anybody, oh yeah, I have to go see, you know, uh, somebody for mental health. Uh, Mine was that way. Mine was even as an amputee, I had was approached with, hey, we have amputee support group, and it's designed to help other amputees um, learn some of the new stuff that's going on, and
Interesting. Oh,
to
yeah.
give them information. You just had surgery, all right, you're depressed, you're missing a limb. Well, people have been through that, and
Mm.
so we have a group for that. And it was
Support system.
when I was approached with it, they said, oh, would you like to come to our amputee support group? And I said, I don't need a support group, I'm
Yeah,
fine. And
yeah,
so ended up going. They said, well, would you be a speaker and come and talk and tell your story? And I went, talked, and told my story, and realized I do need that. I need that to be there for somebody else who's going through this stuff. And it's the
yeah.
same thing with mental health. There's a big stigma. Oh yeah, I'm seeing a psychiatrist. Well, mine was looking to get uh, a support dog. Mine is mobility is my
Yeah.
main need with it.
Right, right,
But when I was originally told, it's like, okay, well, you have to go through mental health to do
right,
that. Well, that is PTSD support dog.
right.
But I was like, and when went into the mental health clinic, and they were like, no, you're
Yeah,
getting a mobility dog. You don't need to do the whole mental health. And I was like, well, because now that I'm here,
yeah.
I know that I have issues after being in the military, and I might as well do this. And it's not a bad thing.
No, it's not. And this is where family comes in and try to provide that support and stuff. You're not you're not trying to run somebody's life when you're saying, "Hey, have you done this or have you done that?" You're helping, you're assisting along the way, and you want to make sure that your significant other, or your partner, or your friend, your family member, we only have one of each, and that's it. And we're concerned, and we care about each other, because we're human beings, and
Mhm.
rightly so. We just have to take care of each other. So, but
The other thing that we miss with May is Asian Pacific Month.
mm,
which affects me also because my mother's Japanese. So.
Yeah. Yeah, who knows? Maybe we'll stumble across another little paragraph here and figure out how did we miss out on that one there. But the month itself, the National Appreciation Month in general is the biggest one
Hmm.
because it's the national appreciation for military, and it's okay. So they gave us a month, Charles. They gave us a month,
Yeah.
National Military Appreciation Month.
Well,
Okay,
as a matter of fact, the
what's
other
month?
day ago, they gave us a day for the active duty. Uh,
Oh, that's right. Now
was
we only get a
was
day at a
and you
time.
only get a day for active duty. Coming up, we will be doing a thing for
Huh.
that, and I know we'll talk about it. Is of course Memorial Day, and then
Yeah,
you have Veterans
yeah,
Day,
yeah. We
and
get a day. We get a day. But it's interesting to understand that. It's a period where Americans are to be honored and to be remembered, to show gratitude for active service duty members. Charles has been where others are at right now, and it's not a pleasant thing to be away from home.
oh,
It's never ever a pleasant thing to be. I think at the very beginning, the first day or so, you're anxious, you're all excited, you're gonna get from one end of the world to the other. But once you're there, and the anticipation is gone, and then you've got a duty to do, but you still have your mind is back home with your family, and then likewise with the family. The family is where they're at as well too. So, things get thrown out of proportion to where appreciation is not dedicated to just, in my opinion, well, in many opinions, for 1 month. It's always there. It's the appreciation for military service members and all the families that are out there and stuff. It's an ongoing thing. So I'm thinking maybe it's me against the world here again. We'll probably never get a whole year of military appreciation. It's only we'll get a month. Well, we're doing good. We still
no.
got
Well,
it's better than nothing, I guess. I
well,
guess.
those of us who have served, we have a tendency, and that's why we call it a military family. We rec- recognize other military members usually,
Right.
even when we're not wearing the hat. It's just things we do that are totally different
Yeah.
than the civilian world. And once you get out, you're still, like I said, Marines is you always say, once a Marine, always a Marine. Um, the rest of the branches, we don't have the tendency to say, once Air Force, always Air Force. But I have learned. My father, like I said, my father still does things a military way, Air Force way. I still do things
Mm.
military way. It it was ingrained in your head when you went to basic training on this is how
Yeah.
things are done. You went to tech school and you went to all these other different schools, and you spent. It seems like even if you're in a short period of time, even if you didn't retire, a lifetime of
Right.
putting that
Right.
uniform on
Right.
and
Yeah.
knowing, like you were saying, all of a sudden, hey, it could be coming up to Christmas, and you are planning this big, huge Christmas thing with your family, and you have to deploy. And it's not. You go, oh well, yeah, but you're getting to go to a foreign country. Yeah, well, those of you who fly on commercial airlines,
Yeah. No
where
kidding.
you
Yeah.
have these comfortable seats, have never been on a KC-10.
Or a C-130.
Or a C-130,
Yeah.
where you've got
Or
pallets
a
that are strapped
CH-53,
down.
a
Yep,
helicopter
and
cargo carrier.
you've got pallets that are strapped
Yeah.
down, and the temperature of the aircraft on the inside is whatever the heck the temperature is going to be. It's never regulated.
That's
Either
right.
it's extremely hot
Yeah.
or you're freezing. And then, like when we went over to Saudi, it was push feet on the floor as you're up
Yeah.
in the air, and your steel toed boots will freeze because that floor, you don't have that wonderful insulation that you have on commercial
No, no,
airliners.
it's just
Yeah, it's
solid iron or metal or steel, whatever the heck
yeah,
they got.
the,
But yeah, we've been through. I mean, yeah, I think if a civilian personnel was to get on one of these, maybe a C-130 and go for a flight across one state to the other, I
yep.
think they kind of feel it, when you can imagine what a lot of service members go through and stuff, It's not an easy task, but continuing on with the month of May, Heritage Month as well. Charles alluded to that, which is a Asian American and Pacific Islander month as well too. It also acknowledges Jewish American, which is Heritage Month for the Jewish American. So in general, there's a lot of population of people that are to some extent celebrating and acknowledging their not only their heritage but their month because it's been given to them. It's like they've been acknowledged for things that they do, and the rest of the year we don't do anything. I guess.
Yeah,
What do we
you're a
do?
nobody the rest of the year. You get that month,
Yeah.
and that's it.
You're a veteran, or you whatever. You know, back in the days when this month, the month of May actually started. It's the origin of it was basically because it represented the goodness of the spring and the growth, and I mentioned that earlier about the flowers and all that, and it represents fertility and traditionally it kicks off the warmer part of the summer. Well, I don't know about you, but right now we're sitting in 90-degree weather. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm happy because I'm not in Arizona and Yuma or any of these other places where it's extremely
Back out in the
Arizona.
desert. Back out in the desert in the Gulf.
Yeah, back up in the Gulf, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Iraq, and those areas where you really feel the heat, and uh, and when we look at the month of May in perspective to the civilian world, we have a military world, and then we have a civilian world. When we look at the civilian world, those are the things that we look at for the month of May. We got Mother's Day, May the Fourth be with you. You've got Cinco de Mayo. You've got Memorial Day is another thing, and we'll talk about that a little bit more. But that's what you're looking at. If you're just sitting behind, if there were no military members around and you were the only person there, that's what you get for the month of May. That's 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 what you celebrate, civilian world. Those little things there. But when you look at it in a military perspective, we alluded to a while ago, it's being National Military Appreciation Month. We get a month, and we talked about that. We're not going to kill the horse or anything, but just so you'll know, I think appreciation is always 365 days a year for anybody who is serving their country and
Mm-hmm.
stuff, and has done a great deed and stuff. Because we all have, and it also covers other specific times. The Military Spouses Appreciation Day, that was already celebrated the Friday before Mother's Day. So military spouse, you get one.
You get
You
a day.
get one day of
Yay, you get a
appreciation.
day.
Yeah, the month of May, military spouse. Always remember it's the Friday before Mother's Day. So, you get to dip in twice. You get the appreciation day for Mother's Day if you're a mom, spouse, and Mother's Day itself. So you get two in the month of May. So that's 2 days, or that's two times to observe.
Well, they
Yeah,
need to separate that so then they get a better deal, right? Because
yeah,
if you're going to buy them a gift for a military, if they're a female military spouse, you're going to buy them a gift, and
right.
then
Yeah.
then they don't get another gift for Mother's Day. So
Oh, there you go. You
so
you work it out
you
there.
only get one day. You
Sorry,
only get one gift because the
we
days.
already celebrated Military Spouse Appreciation Day. So Mother's Day for you. Next year we'll select Mother's Day instead of
Yep.
the other one. Yeah, but that in recognition to the sacrifices that the military spouses has done
Mm-hmm.
for the service members that have in many cases paid the ultimate, but at the same time that are still serving and away from home and so on and so on, and we all need to be appreciated and stuff, and Armed Forces Day. So because we have Armed Forces Day, we also get a day in the
That's the
month of
one I was
May.
talking about. We just recently had Armed Forces Day.
Yeah, yeah,
Those
because
and the difference is for Armed Forces Day, those are still active duty.
right,
Those are
exactly,
the ones who are still in uniform. Whereas when you turn around, I can't remember what month it is now for Veterans Day, where we get one day, and it's those of us who have hung up the uniform. And of course, with this month, we also those who will continually be in uniform because they had the ultimate sacrifice.
Yeah, that's interesting. Armed Forces Day itself in general, all of course covers all military branch of services. You know what? I just to throw something off on the side here. If you are a if you are a they call you the Guardian because you are the Guardian, which is another words for the military branch called Space Force. You know that the military Space Force are also considered the Guardians. That's their other like, kind of like a nickname, like the Marine Corps Devil
Hmm.
Dogs.
Yeah,
Well, these guys right here they're called the Space Force. It's Space Force slash Guardians,
yeah,
Guardians of the Universe per
right.
se.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know, may the fourth be with you.
at least they're not like the Empire
Well,
or
you know what? I've yet to really have a good, decent conversation with somebody who is in Space Force, who not only currently serving as Space Force. If you're out there, I really would like to hear from you.
yeah.
If you're a veteran of Space Force, I definitely would like to hear from you as well too, because what in numbers you're only like maybe under 10,000, maybe if that in
Probably,
numbers.
yeah,
I
because
don't
it
think they have very many.
the
Yeah.
establishment of it and those who were active, and who knows how many, maybe about
Yeah.
10,000 who have retired or gotten out under the Space Force
Yeah.
logo that are now veterans. My question though is who's training them how to shoot? Because if they're like Star Wars with stormtroopers, man, they're not gonna
Yeah.
be able to hit anything.
Well,
And
you know
so,
what? I've seen some videos actually on YouTube on Space Force cadets and military training and all that, and they're very impressive. I like the uniforms better than the Air Force. But yeah.
yeah, we got ripped off when it comes to uniforms.
But
We used to have the bus driver hat.
anyway, yeah.
It looked like bus driver uniform.
So I know I went off a little bit off to the side because it's not a recognition month for Space Force, but the bottom line is that they are part of the military. They are part of the active duty branch of service, and they are to be acknowledged as well too. And like I said, you very seldom see or hear about Space Force in general and stuff because it's not a lot of Air Force personnel, in my understanding, actually transition
Hmm.
into the Space Force,
Yep.
the Guardians as they say. And that's interesting to kind of know because when you're talking Space Force and you're talking Guardians, now you're talking somebody like Star Wars. We're like, wow,
Yeah,
what a
that's why I was
connection.
wondering who's teaching them how to shoot. Because if you watch all the Star Wars stuff and you're trained, whoever trains the stormtroopers how to shoot, they're not good at
Well, I mean, if you
it.
have a laser shooting out, it doesn't really matter. That laser can. I mean, I guess it wouldn't matter. I mean,
Well,
eventually you're going to get hit.
not according to May the Fourth be with you, because they're shooting
Yeah.
lasers that hit stuff and just leave a black smudge on it, and it's
Yeah.
really not doing much damage.
I don't know. I remember back in the days when I was growing up, and I think some of you may remember as well too, the old UFO type of movies that used to come out,
Hmm.
where they this big old satellite, round satellite, not satellite, spaceship would come from the Earth, go down, and then the big old door would open up, and then you'd see a big old body walking out with a big helmet head and stuff, and that was the alien from back in the days. Nowadays the aliens that they portray in many shows are, they got arms and legs, and they look like overgrown spiders and stuff, and they look kind of weird actually. It's interesting how they focus in from what it used to be and nowadays. And the other movie from, I mean, this is going to date me, but I don't care, it doesn't matter. The Day the Earth Stood Still.
Hmm.
You remember that? You remember
Yeah,
that?
that was a big metal
Yeah,
looking guy that came down
yeah.
on the ramp.
Yeah, and he had the eyes, and I mean, well, what I remember, what I recall and stuff. Those are because I say this because we're talking about Space Force, and we're talking about how much of a difference it's made over the past years, as far as how we're able to get things put in our mind of specific things, UFOs. And the federal government right now, if you haven't been in tune with this, they've been talking a lot about UFOs and stuff, and that they're actually out there and stuff. But I don't know. I've never seen one. I've been to that place in New Mexico where supposedly all the aliens landed and stuff. I don't remember. I don't recall the name of it, but I've been
Area
through there.
51,
Huh?
Groom Lake, Area 51. You been out there, Area 51?
It's in that area
In that
there.
area?
Yeah, it's in that
Okay.
area. Not quite in Area 51. I didn't see. I seen.
You didn't see any aliens?
No. We drove up a little town. Forget. I mean, I even forget the name of the town. But every window, every store had a little alien
Well, see,
imprinted
then you
on it.
got to see aliens. You didn't get to see real
No, but they were
aliens.
printed on. They were drawn on. Charles, they wasn't like a.
You
It
didn't get to
wasn't
see
like
any
a
real
closed
ones,
down. No,
but you got to see some aliens.
yeah, I
So
got
you
to see
should be
some
happy.
aliens that were drawn on the wall. About every business out there had a little alien drawn on the wall. Supposedly that's the place where they hang out at. I
Well,
don't know.
but you're in the middle of the desert. You have to have some type of draw, right?
So you saying it's a
Do,
mirage?
no, you have to have some type of draw to get people in there because
Yeah,
if
that's true.
you're a little town in the middle of the desert, not too many people are showing up.
Yeah, if anyone in the chat knows what this town is or a little bit more about it, send us a message and stuff about that because it's interesting to kind of throw that or kind of put that in perspective with life in general. But it has nothing to do with the month of May. I understand that. We kind of went a little bit off, but going back to the month of May is that another very important month to remember,
Yeah, it's very
or
important.
very important. Thing to remember. It's Gold Star Awareness Month, and those of you who do not know what Gold Star Awareness Month is, and it's very we're going into the Memorial Day, which is next week, and I want to talk a little bit about this because it's important that we understand this because it's dedicated to in honoring immediate family members, which are Gold Star, they call Gold Star survivors of the fallen, the U.S. military service members who lost their lives in the line of duty. And when you're talking about Charles getting on a plane, flying 17, 18, 19 hours to get to the other side of the world, landing in another total environment that you're never ever seen before, and you get out and you start going out into your operations and stuff. You get attached to your unit, and things start happening, and you don't know what's happening, and things end up in the wrong direction,
Mm-hmm.
and those are the individuals who actually pay the ultimate price. And a Gold Star Awareness Month is dedicated to educate individuals who are not aware of what a Gold Star family member is. There's two type of Gold Star designations that Congress has. And it's important that people know about that because there is a Gold Star lapel button that's given to all the Gold Star family members, or the Gold Star family members that have lost that have lost their loved ones, I should say, because it could be anyone in general of the family during battle, during war. In other words, they were in combat and they got killed. They got KIA, killed in action. Those parents, those husbands, those wives, those brothers, those sisters, are Gold Star families, and they get a designation with a Gold Star lapel button that's specifically for the Gold Star families who lost their loved ones in battle, dating back all the way to World War One.
Well,
So we got quite a few, and the numbers are amazing, or just it's just not amazing, but it's terrible, terrible. Uh, and then there's another Gold Star member that people are not really aware of because these are what a Gold Star member who is considered or called the next of kin. So the next of kin is like the mom, the brother, sister, brother. I mean, they're the next person that are significant to that individual who also lost their lives, were killed while they were in service. Now, it's not killed in action. And there's a difference between that
mm-hmm.
because when you're talking about somebody killed in action on the battleground and stuff, or you know, in a theater of operation or during that conflict and all that, and you got killed in action. That's different, as opposed to an individual who is also a Gold Star member, but they are what's considered called the next of kin. They're still Ghost Star, but they're considered to call the next of kin. And those individuals, again, as I was saying a while ago, those are awarded to those individuals who died while they were serving honorably in the military. They were in the military, they were on active duty, but not in combat.
Hmm.
So that's a big difference there. Training accidents. Most recently we've heard horrendous stories of airplane crashes, and this is gosh, if you've ever been in a well, you've never been. A lot of people have never been. Very few people have ever been in a refueler. Those are the refueler airplanes that are filling the planes up in the sky and stuff. And when those things go off, if you consider all the fuel that's in there, that's actually providing fuel for other jet planes or other airplanes while they're flying up in the air to get them to their destination. That is the most dangerous job I believe that anybody can ever have, and there has been loss of lives for that as well too.
Oh yeah, I
Um,
mine is being out at Beale. We had the KC-10 tankers, and that's what they did. I was privileged in actually going up and watching an in-flight refuel. And so you're talking big, huge hose that comes out the back end,
yeah,
and these guys can hit this little pinpoint. So you've got two aircraft that are flying at high rates of speed. Um, so imagine your gas station is moving and you're in a moving car and you're trying to put that hose into that little small hole with both the gas station moving and your vehicle moving, and you're trying trying to fuel this thing up
imagine that. Wow.
in the air. And that is where you have
Yeah,
the air
there
rushing past two aircraft.
there's been a
um,
lot of successful missions, but there has been a few that have not been successful, and unfortunately, those are individuals. I mean, these can be caused at any given time. You don't have to be in battle or anything like that for that something like that to happen and stuff. But non-combat Blue Star family members are considered the next of kin. So, the point I want to bring across is that the bottom line is that service members were lost.
mhm.
Um, they went to serve the country. If you're in the Marine Corps, you stepped on the yellow footprints. If you're otherwise, you did other things, Air Force, Navy, however they get indoctrinated into their branch and stuff. But from there, moving forward, now you are serving your country, and you're serving your country, and you never know what you are going to be confronted with. I
Right.
mean, we all pray every single day by the grace of God. I mean, there's been times and occasions where I'm thinking I'm never going to make it back. There's been times and occasions where my superiors would say, "You're not making it back," that drives your mind insane just to even think about that, let alone something happening to you and stuff. And so for you family members back home, and you're thinking about your service member that's an active duty, and going having to go through all that thought pattern and all that. This is why we kind of started off the segment saying about uh, Mental Health Awareness Month, and for us to be looking out for these kind of things, because as veterans now, we may not be at the forefront. We may not be in harm's way. We may not be in theater or whatever, but it doesn't mean that we have implants in our mind thinking of those things that could have been horrific for us and for others as well too. As you're
Hmm.
going to know, as we get into the Memorial Day observation of remembering all those who paid the ultimate. That's something really to be acknowledged and stuff. So these kind of I guess education or awareness things are not only because so you'll know what a Gold Star family member is, but also the effects that it does have, not only on the family members. You may not be an individual who was in service, but you're the mom or the dad of those individuals who died in service. You too are affected.
Hmm.
You too have some things going on with you and stuff. And you too should be aware of your health and your consideration. And family members should be looking out for each other and making sure that everything is in perspective. And there is help out there. And it may take you a while to get to the right person or the right organization, but you'll get there. I mean, with enough questions and enough, research, you'll be able to get to where you need to go to and stuff. And there's a lot of support out there. It's obviously this type of situations are also based on, connecting people to support organizations, to help people to, and this is what this military veteran family channel is about, is for us to share our stories.
Yeah.
Not only myself as a veteran to share my story, or Charles or Mike that was here last week, but to you as veteran family spouses and children, you too have stories to share. You too have things that you need to talk about and stuff
Yeah.
that you'd be talking about, answering your questions, things that you've got to do. It's just one of these things that where we kind of fall short on that. And we have the accessibility that upon connecting with us, if we can't help you directly, we know of other resources around us that we can refer you to, or have you talk to and stuff. And I think the ultimate thing about this channel right here is to help people know and understand. I mean, I'm in North Carolina right now. For those of you who are viewing from other areas of the country and stuff, I'm in North Carolina, but I have gotten calls from many other states throughout the United States on some of these things that were mentioned, and somebody caught, I mentioned my BFO, the brilliant flash of the obvious ordeal, caught a little thing saying, I didn't know that I could do that. And they call me, or they text me, or they send me an email, or, and they ask about this. And all I basically do is just try to help guide and direct individuals to specific places. Because not all of us have the answers to everything.
Hmm.
I don't consider myself a guru, and neither does Charles, but we can talk to people, we can talk to you, and we can help
Hmm.
you maneuver, navigate through the process and stuff.
Yep.
And yes, there are a lot of service organizations that can do the same thing too. And some of you may have had bad experiences with other service organizations, and I have too. I'll be the first one to tell you I have too. So, but it doesn't mean that we stop doing what we need to be doing for
Right.
ourselves, because we have to take care of ourselves. And I mean, if nothing else, we take care of ourselves. And that's the reason behind all of this information that we try to pump out to you and stuff. And there is a special day, and I consider it a special day, but like any other subject or any other event that we talked about only having one designation for one day, I think this particular day is an everyday more than anything else, and that's what is referred to or called Memorial Day. And a lot of people seem to kind of not understand Memorial Day for some reason. And Memorial Day is observed on the last Monday of every month, which is in this year 2026, May the 25th is the actual last Monday of the month. So that's when Memorial Day traditionally occurs. And there are a lot of events happening. There's some things that you can go to, there's some parades that you can go to, there's some, meals that you can go and attend to and stuff. There's a lot of happenings out there.
Hmm.
Local wise, in our area, in my area, Gulf War Veterans Incorporated is sponsoring or is hosting a Memorial Day event as well too. And that's going to be in Clemens, North Carolina, on the 25th of May. And they're starting at 11 o'clock in the morning. The location today to that is 8494 Lassiter Road in Clemens, North Carolina. And you can reach out to me if you want this address again, but I put it out on the internet. So if you want to look at the flyer and stuff, you're more than welcome to attend. Understand that this venue is a venue. It's an indoor venue, by the way. Depending on the weather, Charles, on what's going on, I think sometimes people get deterred from going to a place because they're going to be outside and it's going to
Mhm.
rain or it's too hot or
Yep.
whatever. This is an indoor venue. If it does rain, we'll all be covered up and stuff. And we're honoring our guest speakers, which are Gold Star parents, a mom and a dad who lost their son in battle and stuff. And they'll be sharing and telling their stories. And this is, in my opinion, when we talk about Memorial Day, memorializing and recognizing all those who paid the ultimate
That's
price
right.
in battle. They died in battle, they were killed in action. Because when you get to share your story and tell a little bit more of your lost ones, it's not only a healing for them themselves, but it's also a little bit more of an understanding of those of us who are out here and don't really get the picture. For Veterans Day, we have our day.
That-
We don't celebrate Veterans Day. You don't wish me well on Veterans Day, on Memorial Day as a
no,
veteran, because that's not what it's about.
no, because we made
It's
it
not
back.
about a
Yeah.
veteran. And don't thank me for my service, because you can thank me on Veterans Day. You honor and respect those who have lost and paid the ultimate on Memorial Day. That's what
Right.
Memorial Day is about.
Yeah.
And I have my day, Charles. We have our days, and you all that are better, you have your days. But please understand that this is very specific, and that's why it's very close to my heart when I talk about Memorial Day, because I've been blessed to be able to have made it back, and millions of us are in the same position.
Mm-hmm.
But you also have to remember is that when we go into other lands, other territories, the first thing that comes to our mind, you can believe it or not, is our Lord and Savior. That's the happening. We pray every night with each other. We talk about God. We do, and rest in peace and know that that's talked about. And that's when if something terrible was to happen, our last final thoughts were, God protect us. God, you're with us. God bless this whole brigade or whoever is out there. It doesn't matter. But please understand Memorial Day, I'm beating this horse to a death, because this is very important that we understand this, Charles.
Yep.
It's Memorial Day. It's Memorial Day. It's not a Veterans Day. Do not thank me as a veteran on Memorial Day, because being the jarhead that I am, I'm going to correct you.
Yep.
I'm going to say it is not my day. Honor those who pay the
Yep.
ultimate.
That's like
And
I
that's
was.
the way it's going to be.
That's like I mentioned earlier. Armed Forces Day, those who are currently in uniform. Veterans Day is those who hung up their uniform, and Memorial Day is those who will always be in uniform because they died in uniform. So it's a matter of respect those, because you have freedom because they gave the ultimate sacrifice.
Yeah, that's the ultimate truth on that day. This month of May also has a very significant date that's given to all of us who pray. All of us pray. May the 7th is actually known as National Day of Prayer on May the 7th. So we passed it. May the 7th has been a while ago, but we pray every day. So May the 7th, again, is just another day that's designated, I guess. I mean, we get one Christmas Day, one New Year's Day, we also get one National Day of Prayer, but we pray all the time. And understand that that's something that's very important. This year, however, to
Commemorate.
to commemorate our 250th year of our existence, which we're getting there in July, on July 4th. We'll get there. On this past Sunday was another big, huge National Day of Prayer on the 17th of this month, which was a couple of days ago.
Mm-hmm.
And if you haven't had a chance to go back and listen to some of the messages that were sent out by our higher ups, which is our president, our vice president, and so on, you should go and listen to some of these prayers and some of these things that they talked about, because our nation is in need of a lot of prayer.
Oh yeah.
And we're in need of a lot of prayer for all those who are deployed right now, and all those who have paid the ultimate thus far, and hopefully everything will be able to get himself taken care of. And there are a couple of other recognitions that they do during the month of May. which one of them is what they call the Silver Star Banner Day. That was on May the 1st. It's also May the 1st is also dedicated to combat wounded veterans. I didn't know that, Charles.
No.
This year, believe it or not, is the first year that I know that combat wounded veterans actually have a day to celebrate. You get one day because
Yeah,
you were
one
wounded
day.
in
It's
combat.
just, yeah.
May the 1st.
You make a sacrifice.
Yeah.
You get one day.
Yeah, one day.
So don't get wounded because you only get one day.
Yeah, and it also marks the end of World War II as well too. So we
Well,
we
in
car,
Europe. Yeah.
we talk and we make a little innuendos about one day of this and one day of that, but deep in our heart and soul, it's every day is Memorial Day. Every day is National Prayers Day. Every day is Health Awareness and Mental Awareness Recognition Day. Every day that we're able to step out of our beds and just wake up and take another breath is another day that we move on and we just say, thank you, Lord, for the next day and just do what we got to do and stuff and get it taken care of. There's some things that during like Memorial Day or Veterans Day well, let's just talk Memorial Day because we're specifically talking about the May that are out there for people. There's discounts and promotions. You're going to hear all of these promotions if you haven't heard them already. Buying a car and celebrating Memorial Day. Thank you, veterans. Again, don't thank me on Memorial Day as a veteran.
Nope.
That's not what this is about. And I think
Nope.
sometimes if individual, and this is me against the world again. When I say me against the world, I say it's only my thoughts.
It's not just you, Jesse, because I don't want to be thanked for my service on Memorial Day.
I think if these individual car dealers that want to appreciate Memorial Day ought to start giving these cars to people.
Yeah, they give a car to a family who lost.
Then I can say
who lost a loved one.
There you go.
Yeah,
there you go.
You lost your loved one in service of this country. Here's a brand new free car.
Yeah, that's a mean.
Here's you lost a loved one. Here, come on into our restaurant. We have a free meal for you. You don't even have to pay for the meal. As a matter of fact, we'll tip our waitress and your waiter and waitress.
That's right. That's right.
For the job, and not some crappy tip either, because I don't leave a crappy tip when I go into these places. So if you're going to give a free meal to these families, which you need to do, give a good tip to the wait staff.
That's true. That's true. And the public service for people, for individuals, for political affiliates, political associations, governmental institutions, and all that hype up, that talk about all of that stuff. I would like to see if you are a House of Representative, a Senate, whether you're in state, local government, I would like to see you out there talking to veterans a little bit more.
Yep.
Sometimes I go to veterans meetings and stuff, and I see a lot of veterans, and I talk. It's good for camaraderie. We get to talk about a lot of things that are happening, which there are quite a few meetings throughout the United States on this and stuff. But the only time you see the political figure is when it's time to vote.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Nope. Get out there now.
If you support us, you get out there and you just hang out with us.
Before it's your time your time, and you're knowing, I need somebody to check that box next to my name.
Yeah.
You need to be out there working for the people, because that's your job, is working for the people.
Right, that's right.
Instead of sitting on your butt collecting a paycheck like some of these people.
Well, and that's never going to change. It's been an ongoing thing with that side of the field, I should say. But these are things coming out of my mind. I'm sure I'm just saying things that some of you just don't say, and I think that if you say you support us, then support us.
And hopefully YouTube won't shut us down for saying things. We'll try and we'll keep it clean. Well, I'm not going to cuss at you because I'm the chaplain, and that would not be a good thing as a chaplain.
But if you get my picture, if you get what I'm talking about, the bottom line is that if you make a statement that you support us, then support us. Nothing wrong with that. It's just like there's nothing wrong with having a good, honest day work.
Yep.
Nothing wrong with that. Those are morals, values, and standards that are
good day at work.
that we grew up with. I mean, those are the things that we do. There's a lot of organizations out there that are willing to give you help you out and stuff. They're providing sponsorship, providing assistance, providing help, doing all kinds of things out there to help individuals out. Specifically the military families who are out there, because understand when you get to a point to where you have a veteran mom or dad, or specifically a mom or a dad, because I hear this all the time. One of the questions that's, oh, how can I help my dad? My dad got out of the military and he is sick and he doesn't know what to do. Nobody's ever told him, nobody has said. You can help your dad, you know. You can call to get some information to the Veterans Administrations. Every county throughout the whole entire United States, state, county, uh, cities, they have representatives for the Veterans Administrations, and one can lead to the other, but it's just like you have to do the footwork. Yeah, I mean, it's not going to come to you because you're asking for something, or you think somebody did something and it's going to automatically appear in front of you of what you're asking for. It's not going to happen. You have to take that stride. You have to take that. You
Take the
have.
initiative. It's
Yeah,
not
there you
a
go.
not a magic lamp. You can't rub the lamp and the
Yeah.
genie pop out and present you with
You
all
have
this
you have
stuff.
to ask the question. When you ask
Yep.
the question, you may get certain answers, different answers, but you're going to get them. But anyway, we've had a good time today. We've had a fun time talking about the month of May. We may not talk about the month of June next month, but I think because in general, this month is a significant month because it has a lot of meaning behind it. When you're talking about Mother's Day and then you're talking about Memorial Day, those specific things always are always, always, always things to look at. I mean, it's just big ticket items, in my opinion, that we all consider. Each and every one of us know and are aware of that. And if you're not aware of that, I'm hoping that through our specific type of information and education and definitions and stuff that we give you, we're hoping that you can at least acknowledge some of that. But we also want to ask you to subscribe to our channel if you have not done so.
Yep.
And
Like, subscribe, and share.
every Tuesday we are live. We're going to talk about something. We're going to talk about Charles. Charles going to talk about me. I'd like to hear some of your stories, what you have out there.
Yep. We have a comment section. YouTube
Yeah.
has comment section. Comment.
Yeah,
Write
comment.
something. Put something
Let
down
it-
in there. Tell your story on that, or say, "Hey, I would like to contact you with you because we're gonna attempt. I'm working on this, Jesse. You asked me about this. How can we bring other people in live?
Yeah.
And I'm researching this.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get this. So we're trying to make it look better. That's why our names will pop up every now and then. The opening thing. Hopefully there was some sound to it. I was working on that. Have been working on that for a week or so, trying to make it look like we know what we're doing.
And we
But
do. We actually do know what we're doing.
we
We
know
just
the
don't know what
we
it's
know the
about.
talking part. We know how to talk. But
Yeah.
organizing the whole live stream thing, well, that's different. I'm still working on some of these glitches and things that happen with technology.
Right.
I'm not Space Force, so I was Air Force. It was before Space Force. All these space guys, they probably know how to do all that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. Anyway, well, I hope you guys have a great week, and we're looking forward for next week and stuff. And we hope to see you soon.
Yeah. Love y'all. Take care.
Have a blessed day.